Trixie? Yes? I wonder if there's anybody left watching these videos thinking that Nightmare Night and Nyx is still going to be the subject of discussion. Well, they haven't figured it out for the title. These opening bits should alert them that Nightmare Night and Nyx has so far been delegated to just review mode while we're telling the story of the Flash and return to Barry Allen. So if we run out of chapters for Nightmare Night and Nyx, are we going to do one of those Superman vs. Flash stories you've been eyeing? Maybe. I do know there are a couple I kind of want to talk about and would really love to present. But for right now, let's review one of the chapters of Nightmare Night. Next, this one might be a little more rage-inducing. So, Nyx's whole thing follows Nyx and the others walking back towards the statue to do the annual Nightmare Night celebration of giving up some of your candy to the statue of Nightmare Moon, yada yada yada. What we start off with is Rumble noticing that there's a whole bunch of other fillies and colts from the town because apparently, thanks to the reconstruction efforts, Ponyville's becoming quite a boom town. Ignoring the farming. And that's mostly a farm town. And it probably would stay a small town because not every single town is going to grow big just because you might have a few heroes or famous people living there. Trust me, it's not always going to happen. One of these ponies is a new filly named Flitter. Of course, Rumble notices that Flitter is trying to stay out of the range of the changeling detecting lamplight. Flitter's a changeling, isn't she? And you people wonder why I had a problem with changeling lamplight. It's obviously not working now, is it? Especially when ponies know it's there. So not only is it a racist tool, it's also a very useless tool. It's racist and useless. Meanwhile, Nyx is hiding in a corner, watching Sakura spin her tail and wondering what ponies talk about her when she's not there. And thus, we come to the part of the fic that, well, if we were to be honest, I think it was this point of all my reality check reading that I came to loathe his stories. And I just quite frankly got pissed off at them. It was at this point, right here. And I would like to start off with grow up, Nyx, and get a backbone. Oh, Nyx isn't a crybaby. No. Penstruck's Nyx isn't a crybaby. My adult Nyx that you would see sometimes in my stories, she isn't a crybaby. This girl is a crybaby, and an insult to all the variations of Nyx in existence. This girl isn't Nyx, but a loser, as you shall soon see. And Dicky looking oh so scared, and this being all described as the ponies giving up their idols like a sacrifice to some ancient pagan ritual. Give me a bloody break, gag me with a spoon. Oh, and it gets better. Because after they all leave, Nyx is miffed. And what does he see as a so-called proof that these ponies are swindling the fillies out of their candy and that this is some sort of horrible trick? Zakara. Now, I want to believe that Reality Check didn't do this on purpose. I want to believe that Reality Check was not being a racist like I think he is. I want to have faith in that. But you just had our black representation was voiced by a black actress and treated as an African character stealing the candy. and being the representation of the stallions' lie, of the ponies' lies to their kids. The black pony, the African. I don't want to believe Reality Check purposely wanted to give in to the idea that black people are thieves and other mean terms, but quite frankly, with that whole pagan ritual comment, I don't want to give Reality Check that benefit. I quite frankly think Myken was more respectable with Dino and Might than this scene with Sakura. Yeah, I said it, and I mean it. It gets better when you think about it. Because by putting in the words pagan ritual, he's making this seem worse than it is. He's acting like this is some sort of grand scheme, or this is some sort of evil swindle, or this is some sort of evil ritual that he, the white, bearded, evil Gary Gygax that he is, must defeat with his other avatar, Nyx. And this is why I'm saying that this isn't Nyx. This is Reality Check in a badly done Nyx costume. Also, maybe Reality Check didn't understand this, but by doing this, he's basically saying that he, the white, powerful, bearded, evil Gary Gygax, is looking at these ignorant savages, these foolish pagan ponies, and saying that their culture is wrong, that their beliefs are wrong, that his way of thinking is correct, and that his way is the right way. Oh, sure, he's trying to hide it with, well, this is just like what happens when you find out about the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, and the... Oh, no. See, you're using the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, and Santa Claus in a pony fic. Pretty positive there's no Santa Claus in a Heartwarming Tale. The Easter Bunny does not exist because there is no Easter. Why? Oh, because there's a certain figure attached to Easter that doesn't exist. And I'm pretty positive the Tooth Fairy would actually just be a Tooth Breezy, since it's obvious that the Breezies are more like fairies than anything else. And by doing this with Nyx, you're making it sound like you need to destroy a defenseless ritual. And as a fan of Star Trek, I can assure you that according to the Federation laws, that is a huge violation of the Prime Directive. Now, if they were doing actual sacrifices, then that's something you could stop. If they were controlling innocent people through horrifying means, that is something you should stop. If they were a evil mad scientist who decided to take over the planet by putting a bunch of squid creatures inside metallic cans and proceeded to act like Nazis, then yeah, you should call the doctor and stop them because somehow the Daleks just reproduced. But by doing this, congratulations, you're falling into the white savior category, and Nyx is your character. Not to mention, how overly sensitive does Nyx have to be? Part of her struggle is that she knows she's not Nightmare Moon. She should be seeing that Nightmare Moon is a different entity, and that this is just some false story written about Nightmare Moon. Or some sort of false identity that they gave Nightmare Moon. She should realize that. She's smart. And she shouldn't be feeling personally attacked with this. Nor that the Phillies should be personally attacked. Because we don't see in the show that they're giving out all their candy. Just some of it. We see that they still have plenty of candy when they go back. We still see that they have plenty of candy to have for themselves. So why do you think that they give out all of the candy? But I get it. You want to bash this, you want to break out the idea because this insulted your idealized idea of Luna. Well, if you wanted to go that route, why not actually be real, Mr. Reality Check, and talk about the reality of Halloween? Like how this is all based off of pagan beliefs of the end of seasons. How this is connected to ancient pagan rituals of things like Samhain or Samhain. Look, even JMS doesn't care. And he wrote the episode. Or, the legends that sprout out from Halloween. Why not try to mix that in with your idealized version? What's that? You won't? And this whole entire thing is just to bash the ponies? Why, Reality Check, I do believe you are absolute miserable scum. Well, at least Mike is stupid scum, but you are scum. That's insulting. Meanwhile, in the B plot, or is it A plot? I don't know. We see the party continuing on, and Palm Circumstance are being their usual selves, get new material. Meanwhile, Pinky and Pokey are, of course, being themselves. Well, this doesn't seem like it's too insulting. And then we have Rainbow Dash. I'm sorry, I had to get myself ready for whatever stupidity was about to happen. It starts off easy enough, trying to say that Rainbow Dash is in the wrong for insulting Thunderlane, for failing the whole entire reservoir tornado and getting everybody else sick. He did. He had the feather flu. He should have known he was getting sick. Should have went off to the doctor before doing something as important as getting the water to the ponies. But he didn't, and he got a lot of ponies sick. There's an obvious gag here, but I'm refusing to say it. And somehow Rainbow Dash is the bad girl because she drafted the ponies, even though they looked perfectly healthy in those scenes. How was she supposed to know? They have told her? Shouldn't it fall to them? What, was Rainbow to get every single pony? Last I checked, she's not a nurse. But no, it's the woman's fault. Because of course it is. And then it goes to proceed to demoralize Rainbow Dash and crush her and try to insult her in every single way possible by mocking the episode with the best pets, saying, oh, they have been run through the ringer. Yes, the ringer of showing off their pictures and the ringer of, oh no, making noises and, oh no, doing cool tricks that they could do as normal animals. And how Rainbow Dash berated and insulted and yelled at Fluttershy because she couldn't cheer loud enough. Ah, there it is. Oh, that feels so good. I know, Trixie. It's the I'm thinking too hard about a joke scene. Oh, tell me more, Reality Check. Tell me more about how Rainbow Dash is in the wrong for what amounts to a single funny little gag. Because I am damn curious as to how somebody who supposedly writes a webcomic that's supposed to be funny has an unfunny stick up his ass. And then Twilight pointing out how Rainbow Dash got them all killed for, being herself, for actually kicking a dragon in the snoot. At least there's no commentary about no using the soldier's bit. Oh, no. That's in Reality Check's other cursed work, which, luckily, I don't have to read because Dr. Wolf has a reading of it on his channel, so I don't have to do shit. And of course, complaining about Dash calling Nyx a wimp, which Nyx was in the original early days of her life. What all this amounts to is Reality Check hates confident characters who believe in themselves and are willing to do things on their own and are actually capable of being awesome. And women. I wanted to make sure you guys knew that Reality Check hates women. Thank you. Now, onto better, more interesting stuff. Last we left our heroes. Barry Allen had betrayed Wally West. And now, Wally was trapped behind a force field, Ray almost about to be squished. And Barry can only watch on with a smirk. Don't feel bad, though. You won't live to regret it. And he raced off, leaving Wally to scream in defiance, Barry! That's it. He's not coming back, and I'm not coming out alive! The force field begins to encroach closer and closer. Shut up. Clear your head. Clear it. Forget Barry. Forget the fear. Forget everything, but don't lose the vibration. Struggling to remain his cool, Wally West puts his hands onto the side of the force field, begins to vibrate at incredible speed. Stay with it. Stop now. You're gone. You'll solidify inside the wall and die instantly. If you're lucky. Wally continues to struggle, pushing himself harder and harder through the force field. Can I say this is one of those things I love about the early Flash comics? They established that Wally doesn't have the same tricks as Barry. This helps differentiate Wally West from Barry Allen. It makes Wally West his own unique individual, with his own powers. This is also what made his fight in Death Battle with Sonic so much more interesting. Everything. Gently. Hurry. Slowly, Wally West struggles his way through the force field, pushing out, popping out, halfway in, pulling in, step by step. Hurry. Everything I am now. Easy. Just a little further. Don't lose it. Don't lose it. Everything I do now. With one final grunt, Wally pushes himself out of the force field. Now, who is it for? A little while later, Wally walks back home, not even bothering to pull open the doorknob, kicks the door open, and walks into his apartment, alone and in the dark. And all he can hear is the TV on. After several months, new crews today finally caught up with the long-absent Flash. Though still vague on the nature of his disappearance several years ago, he offered this unexpected and devastating statement to the press. Since my return, I found myself pleasantly surprised by a number of events that occurred during my absence. Chief among these was the notion that my former protege, Kid Flash, had chosen to keep my spirit alive by adopting my name and costume. As the TV continues to play, Wally slowly removes his costume, bit by bit. I was touched, but not terribly startled. Ever since he was a boy, all he wanted to do was follow my footsteps. Tragically, however, he wasn't up to the job. Earlier this afternoon, he and I fell into a trap set by Combine. I escaped. Wally West did not. And so it is with a heavy heart that I stand before you today to note that Keystone's greatest hero, lost, alone, and broken, Wally begins to cry, his costume thrown away into trash. The Flash is dead. I debated with myself a little bit if I should read this next part, because it's technically a Green Lantern issue, and more of a Green Lantern story that doesn't really pertain much to Barry Allen. It wasn't included in the original graphic novel, but some of the events in the story are mentioned in the next issue, so I'm going to go ahead and read it, because When's the next time I'm gonna read a bad fanfic? And have a chance to read a Green Lantern story, But if that ever happens, it's most likely going to be either Emerald Dawn, The Road Back, or my personal favorite, Green Lantern Rebirth. It couldn't be true. But as I approached Central City, I saw the shattered buildings, the overturned cars, and I knew it was true. But my heart couldn't sink any longer. Until I saw the explosion of orange fire, I saw who was on the receiving end of it. The Flash, friend. I had come here wanting answers from Barry. But at that moment, all I wanted was, you! If you killed him! What? Who? Green Lantern flies in, launching some sort of flame being strike at Barry's back. You're dealing with me. Using his Green Lantern ring, Barry Allen creates a giant green mace construct and slams it into the being. A green. Ugh! I don't want to believe something had happened to Barry. Just returned from apparent death. I don't know who you are, and I don't care. But the Flash is my friend. And if he's been acting irrationally, I'll find out why. I am a Dark Star. And getting him back was too important to me. I've always heard the Green Lantern Corps had the same duties we do. But what I've been learning lately makes me wonder. Darkstar aims his hands and fires an energy blast at Hal Jordan, knocking him back. I wasn't going to lose him again. Not to the Darkstar's attacks, and not to his own madness. Hal Jordan grabs Darkstar by the neck, his other hand grabbing the white glove. As for your friend acting irrationally, I attacked because his actions threatened this planet. I'm here to protect. You're saying Dark Stars are here to collect lawmen with Green Lanterns? The fists collide. Lawman, huh? I guess that's why you've been delaying me while your friend escaped. They turn away, and Barry Allen has disappeared. I'm gonna find this Flash, and when that problem's neutralized, I'll be back to ask you a few things. You know, once again, as always, him being physical does remind me of a certain comment that I always want to point out to people who have ever insulted Green Lantern because of his weakness to yellow. To everybody who's ever said that, to everybody who thinks about the yellow weakness, I want you to bring your ears real close. Closer. Are they close to your speakers or headset? Good. A Green Lantern is smart enough to be able to avoid the yellow weakness because he knows how to use his fists and other areas around him. Just because the yellow can not affect the Green Lantern ring does not mean that he can't affect the objects around it. That is called being intelligent. Thank you. There's gotta be a good explanation for Barry's attacks on Central City. As Hal Jordan floats, he sees the people pushing, taking people away into hospitals, into ambulances, trying to quell fires. There's gotta be. I better find it before Darkstar does. He's so powerful. Could he really be part of another interplanetary law force? The Guardians mentioned him once, but... Oh, and to add my earlier yell, please look at The Road Back. Or, even later on in this series, where Green Lantern fights Mongol, a yellow being. Do you know how Hal Jordan beats Mongol, even though Mongol's yellow? He picks up John Henry's irons as his hammer. He pumps himself full of willpower. He lifts up the hammer and smashes it against Mongol's skull. Look, he got around the yellow weakness. Read a comic! Guardians mentioned him once, but... As Green Lantern flies, a message comes along his ring. Damn you, Green Lantern! Carol? Oh no. Of all the times, it can't be. Hal and I could be a good couple. I know it, but damn this other life! I never thought I'd be grateful to hear Carol curse the Green Lantern.
I hated butting into her privacy, but surely she has a right to curse me. I had to know she's trying to star Sapphire again. As Green Lantern flies, his mind goes back to thinking about Carol, and he flies back home. And after the way she was acting this morning, I couldn't be sure her other life couldn't come back. I returned from leaving Olivia Reynolds at the Montana Bay Hospital with Dr. Bentley. She'd never woken up from her defeat in the antimatter dimension of Claude. I wanted to stay, but I had to get back to the airstrip. I had to confront the unanswered questions between Carol and me. I heard voices from inside the office. Carol was having a yelling match with Pie. Ugh, I never should have gotten into this. Pie!
He sees his friend and Tussie's sidekick, Pieface, who actually has another name, but I'm sorry, I can't remember it. I just know his nickname was Pieface, and that was what was introduced into the comics. Remember, it was late 50s. Hal, I just wanted to overlook your financing for a reasonable request. If I'm going to buy your air taxi business. But Miss Ferris won't let me near the books.
What? But Carol knows we've been friends for years.
Romance, business, and friendship don't mix, Hal. Maybe the friendship part should stay out of it. Despondent, Hal Jordan walks into Carol's office.
One thing seemed for certain. The romance part was about to end. Whether that would help or hurt the situation, I didn't know. What is it, Carol? Is something wrong?
Carol holds a wine glass in her hand, rage in her eyes. I don't know, Hal. I've been restless, irritable, all day. Like I had to do something. I don't know what. When Pie came in, I suddenly felt so controlling.
That's when I began to first if it might happen. Carol's been doing so well lately, but after all, Sapphire possessed her for so long. I wonder if the news I was about to give her might set it off. I respected her too much as a friend to not tell her. This was between Hal Jordan and Carol Ferris as human beings. Sit down, please, Carol. Not between Green Lantern and her.
Well, if you wait a little while, she can find other Star Sapphires to help her. Trixie can't believe you made a reference to the other Lantern Corps. I had to, Trix. I had to.
I won't accept your marital proposal, Carol. I may be getting a new relationship.
A new? Is that Arisha, isn't it? You Green Lanterns always stick together. Rest of the universe be damned. I think I'm going to leave any connections or any discussions about how wrong or right it is that Hal is dating a girl who used the Green Lantern ring, it happens, to age herself up so quick from being 16 to being 20 to the comments. I will not be offering my own discussion because I'm afraid there's going to start a comment war, and I don't really want to get into that.
It seems, a nod reaction by Forrest Dawn. It's not Arisha. Memory's starting to come back, but she's still a little girl. It's Olivia Reynolds. I explained to Carol about Olivia and the Agrano, about our battle on Quad, and how our psyches merged, and how I never felt closer to anyone. Carol didn't look at me. I wondered for a moment if she was even listening. When she finally looked up at me, I wanted to curse me or give her a blessing. I certainly didn't expect what I got.
You know I can make you marry me if I want to.
What?
Huh? But I didn't say anything. In fact, felt like I fell asleep for a moment. Can't argue about this now. I need fresh air. I need time to think.
Damn. Figure better keep an eye on her. Maybe. Then, particularly, my JL signal device chose that moment to beep. It was Power Girl.
Yes, Power Girl wearing a... I want to say more conservative outfit than she normally wears, but the Green Lantern ring's making it hard to tell. A Dexter Miles called you from the Flash Museum in Central City. The original Flash is on a rampage, and the new Flash is missing, presumed dead.
Great. Tell Dexter I'm on my way.
In an instant, Hal Jordan takes to the sky, turning into his Green Lantern uniform.
I put a power ring monitor on Carol, then I had to get to Barry. Little did I know how much until I saw Darkstar attacking him. But now, where are you, Barry? Blast it! For once I looked up. I just had to catch up with him before Darkstar sees him. As Halzor flies to the skies above Central City, he watches as Barry Allen runs. As I catch up with him, Darkstar sees him. I have to make Barry listen to reason. I have to. What way he's going in there? He sees that the Flash runs right into the Flash Museum. I guess I'll have to confront him on his own turf, so to speak. Funny, Barry didn't strike me as being in a nostalgic mood. Green Lantern, bless you for being a dependable fellow. Halzor and Lance, he talks to an older man. This is Dexter Miles. First, the streaked in here, and ordered us all out, threatened us with death if we didn't make haste about it. What's wrong with our old friend? I don't know, Dexter. Maybe something to do with the time he has away. Where is he? The Rotunda! You get out of here, Dexter. I'll see if I can reach the part of him that was a friend to us both. What do you know? It's my old pal Green Lantern come a-calling. Haldoran steps in, ready to confront the Flash.